Hola, ¿qué tal? How are you guys doing today? Welcome to the celebration of Zócalo with Child's Play, theater for young audiences, for all audiences, I should say, and funded by the Doris Duke Foundation. We're here today celebrating with our designated visual artist, Edgar Fernandez. And Edgar Fernandez is a very prominent young artist here in the community. I've known Edgar for a few years now, and he's been very active and very effective in reaching the community with his artwork, and he's made a huge impact on the Valley and in other places throughout the state. So I'd like to welcome Edgar Fernandez. How you doing, Edgar?
I'm doing great. I also want to mention I also go by Ochoa. That's kind of like my artist name that I've been kind of introducing myself with, because it has more root in it that I feel like culturally roots connected back to my ancestors. And that's the work that I create. That's the work that you see here. That's the work that I express. It's ancestrally rooted artwork with the contemporary touch. Contemporary touch is adding some different elements from modern masters like Rufino Tamayo and Siqueiros, and also Zarco, who is a current mentor of mine, has also helped shape me in the way I captivate and capture the colors and also the forms of it, since I learned a lot from his sculptural work. So how do I make a 2D piece seem more sculptural by adding those shadows, those highlights, and those colors that kind of make it pop out of the canvas a little bit more.
Wow, great, yeah. And I feel very fortunate as an observer to have watched you grow over the years, artistic as a visual artist. But I must say that maybe you don't even consider yourself this, but I consider you somewhat of a culture activist in our community, simply because your outreach has been admirable, and I see your artwork all over the place, and also the fact that you've been very active in art celebrations, in festivals throughout the Valley. Just like this celebration that we're having now of Zócalo, how has these festivals affected you as an artist, your career, and your development as an activist?
It's a great question. I think it's impacted me in such a way that I felt when a couple years back that I was always chasing something and I wasn't able to get there. Like the artwork I was creating, I feel like it wasn't there yet. Mm-hmm. And now with these festivals and getting me to push myself outside of the box and to challenge myself in something that's gonna reach more audience than my studio, I think it's now when I'm creating these pieces, it's resonating a lot more within me, but not only within me, but with the viewers. The viewers are captivating, and they're like, wow, it's a really beautiful piece. How did he do that? What's the story behind this? What's the meaning? And I think those things have also helped me to look within myself and dig deeper within my roots and ask my grandparents and my parents more about my ancestors and where I come from, and kind of connecting those pieces and bringing that light, love, and truth into these pieces so the audience can feel that resonation of love and truth, and something that's very impacting, and it's a legacy that I hope to leave behind.
Great. Do you feel that when people see your artwork, I mean, it's evident to me that so much emphasis, the symbols and the images you use are what we call ancestral. Obviously, those things mean a lot to you personally and as an artist. Do you find those elements, the ancestral element, resonating with people who see your artwork? Do they respond to that? Do they talk to you about that? Do they tell you the impact that ancestral imagery is making on them?
Yeah, I think when people ask me those questions and they see that, I think it makes them look within themselves, mm-hmm. makes them look within their own roots, makes them look that, hey, we do have roots, you know. We are indigenous, you know, we are indigenous to this continent, and this is still relevant because it's still empowering people. And I think that's a beautiful part, that people do their own research when they see my work and they ask these questions. It's not something like, oh, that's just a beautiful image, but like, what does this mean? What culture does it come from? And how is that related to me?
Awesome. That's a good answer. You know, what I like about this piece, when we commissioned you, when we asked you to be a part of this celebration, and the celebration being in Zócalo, the center where people gather, where they come together to celebrate society, they come together to celebrate the community, and more often than not, everywhere you find a Zócalo, in Mexico, for example, you find some kind of celebration going on. You find music, you find dance, you find street performance, and of course, you find artists, because so much great art is being generated right now, not only in Mexico, but in the Southwest. And as we see it in our celebration of a Zócalo, the importance that culture plays in people's lives and the impact it makes on them. And we're hoping, and I think this shows here, Edgar's work, is that celebrating culture, regardless of whose culture or where that culture comes from, is a very important element in making and enriching our lives. As we say, la cultura cura, right? Mm-hmm. Culture cures. And you may not think this of yourself, Edgar, but many people in our community admire you and look up to you as a guide, in a sense, as a teacher. Even though you're a young man, you are becoming a maestro in our community, a person of high standing. So we're very grateful to have you in the celebration of El Zócalo, and I'm sure your artwork is, like always, is going to add a lot to this celebration. So thank you very much for coming, man. Any statements you'd like to say in leaving today?
I just want to say that I'm very thankful and grateful for Zarco for inviting me. When he originally contacted me and gave me the phone call, I was really excited because I immediately thought about my trips to Mexico City when I visited El Zócalo. And so I went back on my research. I always like to take a lot of photographs when I go to places, and I kind of reminisce those memories that happened there. Mm-hmm. And I remember the danza there. I remember the artists painting there. And something that I saw there was also this jaguar. It was in the Templo Mayor. Mm-hmm. And that's something that originally really connected and resonated with me right away. And I didn't know the whole vision of this piece, but that's something that clicked. Like, that was going to be the centerpiece of this, and I was going to use that image and add some of the other elements that I add to my artwork.
Oh, great. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.